marrying a teenager, storming off the set of an interview. Long before he was sentenced to 30 years in prison, R. Kelly's various media debacles gave us plenty of hints about his true nature. R. Kelly's controversial moments trace back to the early days of his career. As he continued to grow in popularity throughout the 1990s and 2000s, he began to develop a reputation for being attracted to younger women, specifically underage girls. Over the years, Kelly brushed off the accusations and denied being sexual with minors. Yet, throughout several interviews, including an interview with journalist Torre, his unusual way of answering questions gave away his guilt. In 2008, Kelly sat down with Torre for a BET interview in a Chicago hotel, and the journalist did not shy away from asking him tough questions. In light of Kelly's long-standing reputation for being attracted to underage girls, Torre asked the singer directly about his proclivities.
Do you like teenage girls?
The obvious answer, arguably, would be no if Kelly did not like teenage girls. But he shocked Torre with his response.
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Torre clarified and said, girls who are teenagers, 19 and younger. Following that clarification, Kelly explained that he had friends who were 19 years old, but that he did not like, quote, anybody illegal.
I have some 19-year-old friends.
By the mid-2010s, R. Kelly was still making albums and touring across the country. In December 2015, he released his 13th album, The Buffet, which only sold 37,000 copies within its first week, compared to other albums like the 2013 album Black Panties, which sold over 100,000 in the same time frame. With his album flopping off the start, Kelly agreed to do a sit-down interview with Caroline Materesi-Tirani of HuffPost Live to hopefully garner some attention for the album. But it backfired horribly. During the interview, she asked the R&B singer if he had a healthy relationship with sex, as the lyrics in his songs are heavily sexual. Kelly immediately got defensive.
I did not come here to get interrogated. I didn't come here for a deposition.
After condescendingly asking Materesi-Tirani if she knew what a deposition was, he continued, "This is not about R. Kelly. This is not about music. This is not about someone who works hard on his music who has an album out. This is about trying to interrogate me, and this is about, disrespect." The interview did not last long after that. Materesi-Tirani asked Kelly what he had to say to his many fans who questioned if there was truth to his sexual abuse allegations. And he angrily talked over her, dodged the question, and stormed off set.
No video questions for me because this interview is over.
A major controversy that has lasted throughout R. Kelly's 30-year career was his relationship with Aaliyah. Kelly met Aaliyah through her uncle Barry Hankerson, who was also his manager at the time. Aaliyah, who was an aspiring singer, began working with Kelly on her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, released in May 1994. At the time of the release, Kelly was 27 and Aaliyah was 15. And rumors immediately began to take off that the two were romantically involved. Outside of the questionable album title, many of the album's song lyrics, written by Kelly, were mature in nature. An unusual occurrence for a young singer who was only 15 at the time. Promotion of the album only continued to fuel the rumors, as Kelly and Aaliyah appeared in numerous interviews together. The pair often denied that they were romantically involved, and often referred to one another as very close friends.
No, we're not. We're just very close. He's my best friend.
Yeah.
But months after the singer's debut album hit shelves, she and Kelly married in a private ceremony in August 1994. The marriage was annulled within months because Aaliyah was a minor then, and both she and Kelly vehemently denied that it happened.
Oh, I'm single.
Okay.
Aaliyah died tragically in a plane crash in August 2001, and years after her death, Kelly said he loved the singer. In a 2016 interview with GQ, Kelly said, "I would say I was in love with Aaliyah just like I was in love with anybody else, but in a different, friend type of way." By 2019, R. Kelly's years of sex abuse scandals could no longer be swept under the rug. He had victimized too many, and people were ready to share their experiences with the singer with the public. Lifetime released Surviving R. Kelly in January 2019, and the 6-part documentary series features interviews with survivors of his abuse, as well as his business associates and family members, which played a huge role in the singer's downfall.
I just think he's numb to people's feelings.
It also explored how several people in Kelly's innermost circle, from his managers to those with his record label, were complicit in not reporting the abuse they knew was occurring. The reaction to Surviving R. Kelly was overwhelming, and close to 2 million viewers tuned in to watch the series. As his years of deception and abuse were being revealed, Kelly himself was outraged by the series. A source close to the singer told TMZ in January 2019 that he was disgusted by it, and that those involved in its production were those who had known him in the past that had a vendetta against him for years. The source told the publication he's going to sue everybody who had anything to do with this. R. Kelly had been sued numerous times throughout the years, and, for the most part, suffered very little consequence to the many lawsuits brought against him. However, a month after Surviving R. Kelly was released, he was charged with 10 counts of criminal sexual abuse. 3 months after that, in May 2019, there were an additional 11 counts, including aggravated criminal sexual assault. But the charges didn't stop there. Kelly was eventually charged with another 18 counts, some of which included child pornography and kidnapping. Kelly's case finally went to trial in August 2021, and evidence of his repeated sexual abuse was made public. There were several revelations during the trial, with the biggest coming directly from the victims themselves. One victim recalled that Kelly controlled every aspect of her life and forced her to get an abortion when she became pregnant in 2017. Another revealed that Kelly choked her to the point of passing out, while several victims claimed that Kelly knowingly infected them with herpes. Following a 6-week trial, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison. He was convicted once more in September 2022 on 3 counts of child pornography and 3 counts of child enticement. He was sentenced in February 2023 to an additional 20 years in prison, which a judge ruled could be served concurrently with his existing sentence. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault or may be the victim of child abuse, contact the following resources: the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800-656-HOPE 4673. The Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD, 1-800-422-4453, or their live chat services.